guys, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Wednesday the 13th of September. Here you can see we have got our live currency strength indicator table in front of us, and pound remains the weakest currency at W1. We also have the Canadian dollar as S1, and that is an area we're going to be looking to sort of focus on going into today. The Australian dollar at the time was in S2. That has fallen down to S3, but I still quite like the idea of pound Aussie to the downside. We've also had a little look at CAD Swiss this morning. That looks quite bullish at the moment, and obviously Aussie Swiss we've placed an alert on. So we're going to be taking a look at those markets. We have placed 2 trades this morning. We've placed those on pound Aussie and one on CAD Swiss. If I just get my notepad here as well, and like I said before, we've placed a couple of alerts at the moment, so we're going to be discussing those in this video. So let's go take a look at some markets of interest. Then we're going to take a look at pound Aussie. Pound Aussie yesterday was a market of interest for us. We originally had an alert around about here, which was around about this one spot 94.50 handle. We got the alert go off, so what we had was this kind of consolidation in here, a bit of a move through there. Price came and retested that 194.50. We didn't at the time have any conditions met with the stochastic though, so there was nothing for us to do here, especially because even though we had that 50 test, there was no setup here on the stochastic. Instead, actually, price came up into the 1 spot 95 resistance once again and gave us the setup. So the reason why I'm looking at short now is because I like the idea of trying to get with momentum again. Can momentum break through this candlestick in particular? The reason why I like that the most is because obviously that one closed below the 50 MA as well. So I think what we want to do really is trade with price. So if price then breaches to the downside here, it could be a little bit more of a sort of momentum push down. The stochastic at the moment is starting to turn a little bit more bullish here. I'm happy to leave as is at this moment in time. I will be keeping an eye on it sort of every hour to see what is going on with price, but essentially, you know, we've got a breach of some minor trend line support here as well, so there could be some opportunity to see price trade a little bit lower there. If we then kind of open it up to where price could go to, looking at overall targets down at this sort of 192 level, which is that weekly level of support. If I just bring this in here, it is that weekly level of support where we can see price found it on the high of the 24th of January week, and then these bunch of highs in here between sort of the 26th of June and the 17th of July. That's where I want to see price kind of head towards at this current moment in time, especially if we do see the continuation of this pound weakness in the market. If we go on to our other sort of trade that we've placed, then we have looked at CAD Swiss long. If we just go to the hourly chart, this may have just triggered. I'm not too sure. Let's just have a quick look on our MetaTrader terminal. Let's see if that has triggered. It hasn't triggered yet. It's 65.80 is the trigger point for that. So it hasn't quite triggered just yet. It's got a pass through there by spread. But the reason why I like this opportunity, even though it's only a very short-term opportunity, is the reasoning here. You can see that if I actually just go to a weekly chart first, let's just, you know, be sort of frank here. The market is bearish overall, okay? So on a long-term sort of capacity, the market is definitely in a bearish trend, but that doesn't mean price can't come back, retest previous areas of resistance, maybe at this 66 handle or even 0 spot 68. I'll be more comfortable if we traded above 0 spot 66, because then the 68 level is quite far away, and that to me would be a nice area to look to target on price. But in the meantime, we could look to maybe just target these weekly highs. If I go down into the daily time frame here, we closed bullish yesterday. You can see that the market is technically within this range. So I like the idea of buying to the high of the range, which is around about 66.20. So I'm looking at 66.10 targets here. If we go then down to our lower time frames, including the hourly here, you can see that price has breached that that sort of trend line support which comes through here. We've breached that this morning. We're above the 50 MA. We've come back and retested prior 1 hour highs. Stochastic is bullish at this current moment in time, so that's why I'm happy to look for the long into that level there. I don't know whether we may have slightly just missed that at the moment, but I will be keeping an eye on this one as well and let you know once that one has been triggered. If we go then to our where we've placed our alerts, now I really liked Aussie Swiss this morning, to be honest. I really like this opportunity here because Aussie Swiss on the tables. The only difference is here again is that we're in that strong downward trend, and we have been for quite a while. Again, I'm kind of looking at this thinking, is price in that secondary phase now on the weekly time frame? And if it is in that secondary phase now, where's it going to pull back to? If I was just to apply a fib, we are at the 23.6, but I don't really take much notice of that one. The 38.2 would be interesting up at 58.20, and obviously the 50% comes in at those lows here at the 0.5900 area, so that would be of interest as well. So if we do kind of see a break higher, there could be some extra sort of pips to go for on this market. Daily, not particularly bullish. We've come into previous highs. We've kind of stalled there. The only thing I do like, obviously, is the hourly at this moment in time. The reason why I've set an alert and not looked at an order here, though, is because of this trend line resistance through here. So there was a potential setup this morning in at this level with the stochastic coming back above 20, and you know, we've got the 50 and the 200 in line. We've got those prior highs through here, so there was technically a setup there for a long. That's why I've placed an alert down here at the lows again, just to see what happens when price comes into that level. Do we start seeing buyers again or something, which could give us sort of an early opportunity? Ideally, I want to see price breach this trend line support and then continue up to the highs. A breach of that high would be really ideal to see further upside. Let's go on to the final pair then that we've had a look at, which was pound CAD. Now, very, very interested in pound CAD short. We have come, however, to the 1.6900 level. Now, our original sort of alert is up here at the 169.80. I have placed a secondary alert, not on this chart software, but on MetaTrader, around about 169.50. Now, the reason why I quite like 169.50 would be because it would be a sort of false breakout of these highs. So I quite like the idea of it punching through there, testing the 50, closing back below the highs. If at that point we have a little bit of a sort of double top going on with the stochastic, that would be really nice, I think, to see some further downside in this market. The only problem I've got, obviously, is, like I said, is we're at 169 at the moment. Although we have breached trendline support, 169 was support that followed back in the 3rd of August and the 25th of July. But those were considerably, you could consider those as sort of a minor area of support, because they're more like 50 tests and prices continued higher. Whereas, you know, we've got the 167.50 here, which acted as support, broke through, a little bit of resistance, broke through, acted as support. So there's a lot of activity around that area, and I've got the daily 200 moving average here. So I would like to see potential moves down into that zone. It's just how do we kind of take advantage of that? The hourly is looking good for a short here. I would particularly like to see it a little bit higher. If I go to the 30-minute time frame, we have had a test of the 50 MA. You can see we did before and it rejected. We've had another test that could kind of consider price moving lower. I'd just like the hourly to set up, I think, just because I think it would give us a little bit more conviction. Now, I did put a side note on our Discord today when we placed the trades. I have put side note, we have used 0.5% risk on this trade as we're entering 2 positions, so I only want a 1% risk per day, essentially, is what I'm working on. So I would only, because I'm placing 2 trades at the moment, I'm only going to go in 0.5% risk on each trade here. Obviously, your risk percentage is down to you and what you want to do, but that's what I'm particularly doing at the moment, and I'll see which one kind of triggers and you know, where we get entered into the market. But pound is definitely a market that is weaker. I still like that pound weakness. I think that's something we can definitely take advantage of. CAD Swiss I do quite like to the upside. Let me just see if we've been triggered on that move. We haven't been triggered on that move. It just needs a little bit more of a pullback, but we will keep an eye on that one, and I'll update you appropriately. It looks like we missed out just by spread at the moment, so I'll have to keep an eye on that one for you going forward. But thank you for watching this video update. I hope it made sense, and I'll catch you in the next one.